It's more one of those classic ones where it's just a combination of shit we actually heard, you know?
Yeah. Like that other one with the big hand. I like that one. It was all things that people had actually
with
heard,
the big hand.
Women
in RPGs.
Women in RPGs.
Yeah, there's parts of that I regret, but yeah.
It is all real.
The funny parts are the real parts.
The punchline
was there was
that
made
hilarious.
Up stuff. The punchline and the start was made up, was tacked in there.
Well, what is women in RPGs? What's that?
So I was thinking, like, women are totally like the other characters in RPGs.
What?
Yeah, because they're just subservient and follow you around all the time and, like, do what you want them to.
You have no idea how wrong that is. I mean, what kind of RPGs are we talking about here?
Never mind that. I was just thinking of something else. It's like jerking off, right, is really gay. It's like getting a hand job from a guy and giving a hand job to a guy at the same time. And that's really gay. Really just doesn't get gay. Think about it, right? It's just...
Hey! Did you know Archibald is moving to Malaysia?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sick. We can totally visit him and get child prostitutes. Because it's like okay there.
Yeah, that would be hot. But I really should save up for a sex slave. I've been saving for a while.
You think?
I think I should.
Because, like, if you're gonna go that route, you might as well get a mail order bride. At least they can speak, like, rudimentary English, and, like, they come home with you afterwards.
Yeah, get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Maybe just my hands are gay.
What?
Never mind, I've got something to do.
It's a sketch with me and Charlie and Jason sitting on a couch in Katati
playing video games and talking about women.
Is that the one about, like, if you have masturbate that makes you gay?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's the one.
Yeah, I do like that one. Because I do even feel like I'm not so crazy about that beginning or ending, but it works out really well because it's delivered very well as far as the bad part of it, and then the really awesome part is the middle where I like, both those middle lines are awesome because Jason playing Sergio works out pretty well.
Yeah.
That was Jason played Sergio?
In a way, because both those things were things Sergio had said.
Okay.
Both the middle lines, I think. Wasn't that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's rare that we get to deliver the lines that we said in real life.
I like that you guys were having dialogue on a couch, but you weren't, like, from front view, and you weren't drinking coffee, and it wasn't a desaturated shot, and it wasn't like, just boring, dry dialogue. It was, like, interesting. So I guess it's technically not independent.
Well,
I do like the idea.
It's just not indie. That's
indie.
an important.
It's not indie.
Yeah.
I mean, it is something that I do like, the idea of conversations while people are playing games. It just adds to a conversation piece, especially because that leads to funnier scoring,
Yeah.
Because that was some cool AME music we got to use.
And you could just break the dialogue, like, hey, you can't move there. No, you don't collect money on free parking.
Coins. That's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, coins is gonna be awesome.
I have all the coins.
Oh man.
I guess I still haven't talked to Sean Nichols about it. That's who Jake was wanting to do all the cereal box and
The design
shirt
work, that's
and
cool with me.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
All we basically need is cereal box, T-shirt, and poster, and then we'll be ready to do it.
Okay.
Wish I had like a xylophone right now. Could just play the xylophone.
Yeah, those are good gloves for xylophone playing.
We've been music lists. I've got the beats. We could play the beats if you want to hear
Yeah.
those again.
Yeah, what are the beats?
We've played them before on the Dou Kno show.
Is it a beat for the Isaac stuff?
Isaac has rapped to it.
Yeah, but we haven't. It's more the beats that Jason's made. Jason made some more beats. I should call him.
I was in the break room and
Wow.
some kid
That would be a
actually,
lot easier without gloves.
actually recognized
That's
my operating
dedication.
system. He's like, "Is that Ubuntu?" Awesome.
That's pretty cool.
I think. Oh, I asked. So I asked Josh about your question about the Jason tracks. You
Yeah.
know, and he was certain that. I feel like no. I'm pretty certain that I gave you those off a disc, right?
Yeah.
So I think Josh said the ones that he emailed to you will probably work out better.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was in you turning them into MP3s or getting them off disc. Because
Yeah.
that program, I've never heard the program's name, the one that like names itself in the middle of the tracks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, if you go on the internet and look up hip hop stuff, they have like stuff that they put into their music to sound kind of like the music, but to be repetitive enough and stuff that it's not the music. They'd be like ambient beats. Ambient
That's such a
beats.
funny weird like not gonna work as far as copyright protection thing for a whole genre of etards that are like, yeah, ambient beats. I love this. Every song is ambient beat tonight. My whole life is ambient. Yeah.
Yeah, that and like
You've
if you know how
got
to
really
reverse
great
engineer
gloves for
music,
that,
you can
too.
totally extract.
My whole life is ambient. No, I know. Like these are totally raver gloves.
They
But,
really are.
Oh man, I
but
should go to a rave as
realistically,
a
they're
Muppet
not
person.
because they were cool gloves that ravers happened to just glom onto and then became one of their things. It's kind of
Well,
it's
that's
kinda-
how some
Oh,
cultures work.
I
They
can't
take over
do
things
it.
that aren't
That's way
necessarily theirs to
better.
begin with, but once they've taken them over,
But I'm taking it back.
No, dude.
okay.
Taking it back, damn it.
All right. I'm not saying that that's not gonna happen. I'm just saying it's. I'm just.
Taking back the gloves, taking back the rainbow,
Yeah, dude. I was on a gothic
taking
chat
back
room
my
and they
tie
were
dye,
arguing
taking
over
it all
who owns
back.
black. Who owns black?
Wait, was there tie dye before there was hippies? I think hippies just invented
No,
tie-dye.
you're right. But I like it more than I like anything else in that whole look. You know, I'm not into anything else.
I
but
actually
I
don't know if I
found
ever
some
owned
beats
any
that
tie dye.
I still own some tie dye. I like
Let's
For
that.
go
people
buy
who
it.
did bleach tie dye, that looks kind of cool. I'm like,
I mean,
oh,
I even
that's-
made tie dye when I was a kid a bunch, and I don't know. I
There
like
it
it.
is. Now we have beats. We could have our own rave.
Where's my money? What's a good movie quote?
No, I think "Where's My Money" is actually gonna be the lyric for that song.
There's one that has that.
I think you sort of hit on.
Flashing the cash, flashing the cash.
Not "Where's My Money."
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, all
Where's
right,
my money's
all right.
already been taken.
What are we gonna? Okay.
How about
what are
show
we
me
gonna
the
do for
money?
this? You know, "Show Me the Money" is completely different. We're not doing that.
No, I like flashing the cash. I don't liquid dance.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
That's it.
Oh, you can plug in if you want the beats too. In your ears.
I got this.
You got this.
It's like wobbling back and
Yeah,
forth.
I honestly think glow sticks and even liquid dance, those are not things I dislike. I just don't like that they took them. I mean, really, it's that simple. It's like I don't even really have a problem with people dancing. I have a problem with a beat that never stops. Like I have a problem with jam techno that basically raves are, where it's one beat for 35 minutes
Over 3 days.
and a beat that is lame on top of it.
No, I've been to like so many like campouts that are like secret renegades, and like they'll have like music going for 3 days straight, but it's 3 days straight, and we're camping, and we you know, when we actually are able to sleep, we really want to, but we can't. And then, and by the third day, there's been like 3 nights of wind down where there's just one guy saying, "What happens next is anybody's choice. I still believe that I can't hear your voice. What happens next?" And you're like, "Dude, shut up." And people are yelling at that person, but they don't know he's not a person. He's a track that's been playing.
Wow.
Oh man, even that's like a badass short story.
Yeah. And there's just the one guy. He's just sitting there in the mushrooms. He's like,
Flash fiction.
like this. He's like, looks up and he goes, he just keeps doing that.
Oh, we should do that as a scene, absolutely.
Oh God.
That's a great scene.
Yeah.
It's a really good scene.
Hey, man.
That's like the simple version.
The
of
DJ's just like,
the
or like-
classic beach scene that Michael wrote. Yeah.
What's the beach scene?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Most of
Oh,
DJing now is just crossfading.
God.
That's one we could actually make.
That
instead.
was the one with Isaac, and
Yeah.
how did it go? Isaac ended up becoming everybody's god somehow, and like the leader of the tribe or something.
Yeah, it was
How
like
did
Lord
that-
of the Flies. But
Yeah.
I like this rave idea better myself.
Oh, the rave that never ends.
Yeah.
Turns out the DJ's lamb chop.
Sweet.
Lamb chop.
This is the song that never. This is the song that never.
Oh God. Oh my God.
I understood that joke already.
I
You're gonna
didn't.
have to
I
do
didn't.
it.
I'm glad he explained it to me.
Well, and you know, Jake has a really cool friend that's like a weird DJ, I think, that wears a unicorn mask, right?
Oh, Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
What
uses
is that really?
Where's the unicorn mask?
Yeah. Most of the DJ work these days, it's funny because I'll go there and they'll have a track and then they're not pushing anything, but all the sounds are changing and I'm like, hold on. I like walk over there and it's like, I have Ableton, and they have everything like pre-configured, and what they're doing is they're just waiting for the track to end, and then they have this little crossfade knob, and they turn one volume down and another one up, and the beats just match up, and they're like, okay, and then the song fades out and another fades in, and I'm like, this is like the cheapest version of a rave ever, and they're just sitting there going, that's sick. Oh yeah, that's sick. I made that. And then they're like, girls are like, that's so cool. Can I have some of your cocaine? And they're like, yeah, just right there, okay. Just do a line off my mix board, like fucking. And then they do their line, and they're like, okay, now I'm gonna turn this volume down. I'm gonna turn this one up. I'm like, okay, dude. Like, did you do all your LFO pans at least already? Because like you could be doing that. You could just be changing X and Y axes and be like, but no, you've already done that. It's
Less is
recorded.
more, and doing nothing is awesome.
Yeah. And then they're like, and at the end of it, there's like someone screaming like, "You guys have left cigarette butts everywhere, and there are CO2 canisters on this federal land, and we won't be throwing any more parties unless you guys stop being on drugs and pick everything up." And they're just like, "Whoa, man, I don't like your energy. I mean, you brought us here, and you didn't bring any trash bags? I'm not helping you." And then my friend's like, "Dude, you should help." I mean, like, you guys are all about peace, love, and understanding. And there's like this whole like dialogue with each other, like
About
whether or not
who's gonna pick
who's
up all
gonna
the
pick up
nitrous containers.
the trash. And then this person's still on their rock, and they're like, "I'm not gonna come back here and have another rave if you guys don't blah blah blah." And like, you know, and sometimes they're the kind of people that try to charge you before you even come in there.
That's Code Purple too, man.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Seriously.
Yeah, you need to Code Purple
No,
people
Code Purple
at that
2
rave.
was Occupy Oakland. It really happened.
At And then like it'd be really funny if you just had like a park ranger come up behind them and he's like, I get paid to do this. Like, I'm just gonna pick up the trash now because that's actually my job to take care of this federal land.
I don't think their attitude would be quite as.
Yeah,
also
the
brought
job
you
isn't
some-
to pick up the trash
No.
that the ravers leave.
No,
The
I
job
mean
is-
Well,
I
the
mean,
CO2
their job
canisters-
does involve a little bit of incidental trash removal, and it is understood that some people, that some things end up getting left, but they really, that's the part that they really don't like, and
No,
they
no,
know
no,
what
yeah.
other things
But
do.
but like really, he could have just been raving with them.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the thing is,
That's true, too.
This,
If
I mean,
at
if he
the
was at
rave-
the party and he
If
was like,
If he was
huffing
at the rave, then he
actors,
couldn't
dude,
complain about it.
yeah, then he'd be like, whatever. I like this land. He'd be like the one lone Indian or something
Yeah,
making up
cut
all
the
the
tier.
shit.
Yeah, I
but-
mean,
but here's the
that
thing.
would be too much like the end of Wayne
Well, no,
Stop,
I was
That's-
more putting it towards the fact that would be how it would look. I wasn't saying.
he-
Well,
Yeah, way too much.
Hold on.
I mean, I
Yeah.
like the end of Wayne Stock. It's just starting bit.
Here's the trip though. Where this happened at, this actually happened. This happened at, it's on federal land, and there's a shooting range right there, and there's already tons of like shotgun shells and bullet shells laying everywhere, and they're worried about their CO2 canisters. And there's people who are paid up to go up there and just pick those up and then replace the toilet paper and then goodbye. But they're like screaming about it because like they've already been on one for like 3 days. Like that's what I did. Like there was this party right at Drew's, and there's like a bunch of cool stuff like people getting naked in the pool. Made Jacob kind of nervous. He's like, people are just selling out, getting naked and going to the pool. And we're like, hey dude, have you ever been to a renegade? And he's like, what? What's a renegade? And like, it's a rave. He's like, a rave? I've never been to a rave. Like, I want to go to this underground, like whatever, just spontaneous 15-minute window, take a phone call and get their directions place. So we're like, all right, screw this party after like Jacob just played this show, right? And like we get in Danny's car and we go all the way up to this thing called Love Tech, right? And we go all the way out there, and we bring a keyboard and a microphone. And we plug it into like a microcube, so we have the ability to like have a little PA, And we're walking around Love Tech, and there's all these people who are just out of their mind on drugs. They're like, "Whoa, you guys just came here with that stuff, and now you guys are rapping at people?" Because that's what we're doing, is we're playing beats and rapping at people, and then this is when this all happened too, and we're like rapping at people, and we're going around like da, 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 and they're just like they didn't have the mental capability to even hold on to regular language, let alone rap, and they're like, oh, okay. This is like when DOC got really big too, so everyone was like got goldfish memory, they couldn't remember the past 5 minutes. But like so then we go around, and then like people are like, hey, what the fuck, dude? Some people are like kind of like, what are you doing with all this stuff? Like not like excited about it, but just like kind of put off by it. They're like, you disrupting our show or something. But then like we're like, okay, we'll turn off our music, and then like all of a sudden their generator shuts down. They ran out of gas.
So you read only music.
Yeah, and so then she starts screaming about all the trash, and everyone's messed up, and then we're like, look at each other, and we're like, boop, we turn it back on, we're like, and then just like, really only music left, and then we're like, screw this, and we left. We're like flying, hanging outside the window, we're like, like, ooh, we're free, and all of a sudden you see all the firemen and stuff, or like, it turns out some other kids did that and they crashed, so. Those kids are on drugs, and they weren't. We went back to the party, and then I actually got in the pool, and I actually got naked. And then the next day, Jacob's like, man, I'm so glad we all did that cool stuff, and none of us like sold out and got in the hot tub naked. And I'm like, yeah, none of us. And he's like, what'd you do? You got naked,
Steven,
man.
you sold out, man.
I'm sorry.
I can't believe you
I
sold
bought
out.
in.
Oh, that's dude. You always let you did that. That reminds me of how much you look like the SLC Punk guy.
Steve-O?
No, the
Matthew
movie
Lillard?
SLC Punk.
Their guy? His dad?
I don't know, the guy with the blue hair.
Oh yeah,
played
yeah. I know.
Shaggy.
I totally relate with Matthew Lillard and Steve-O. He's one of my favorites.
Oh, Steve-O.
Was that the
That's-
character's name?
Yeah, the character's name
Okay,
is
Oh,
Steve-O
yeah.
is just, the name has been ruined for me forever by the other guy named Steve-O.
Yeah, I associate
And
it with
so as
Jackass.
soon as
and
you
I
were,
forget
as
about
soon
the
as,
SSP
I
podcast.
just, yeah.
No,
As soon as you had said Steve-O, I was like, no, not that guy. This
I
other
probably
guy.
used to be more or less so like him when I was a little more like wiry and crazy.
Well, yeah, and you were a ICP fan in Utah, so that's pretty similar.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
similar. I was also a punk fan, but like you know, I actually did go to a lot of the places that guy hung out at, and you know, like where they beat up the bouncer. That was definitely that crazy, and definitely like that, and definitely that many people. And the window they escape out of is definitely the window you would use to get away from the police. They showed it all. That made me cry. But yeah, these gloves make me look like Sean though.
But Sean.
Sean was from that movie. He's the kid who got fried out on acid, and he had
Oh, the kid on the porch.
the oven mitts.
Yeah, that was always my favorite part.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I get it, man. So do you see any land around here? No, just water. Love that part. He's like, I can't get off this log. You know why, Bob? Because I can't swim. Oh yeah, that was before I saw that before I ever took acid. Though I was like, oh, that's trippy. When I took acid, I kind of get how he could have been in that mind state, but like I've never like hallucinated. You know.
No, I've never, I mean, yeah. I've never heard of anybody really, I mean, not anybody who I know really hallucinating from LS, or not.
From anything that's not DMT, basically.
Oh, yeah.
I took this stuff, right? And then so-and-so gave it to this other girl, right? And it was only like my second or third time taking it, right? And like, it kind of got me, you know, a little bit. And then this other girl apparently went haywire for 2 whole weeks. You know, she like was saying that demons from hell were surrounding her and all this crazy. I was like, is this girl just exaggerating? Does she need this much attention? But no, she was really sick. So I think it all depends on your psyche.
Well, yeah, and I've definitely hallucinated on mushrooms, but it's always been very mild and just tracers. And a lot of the times, I think I'm more hallucinating because of my lack of sight, and so my mind's eye will fill in something at points.
Yeah.
But that's more of the version of hallucination that I've experienced.
Yeah, well, I had some. If you count that, I've had some on LSD. Like I look at the moon, and this is where like the Beatles started making sense to me. It's like I look at the moon, and it's in real time, and it's not a hallucination. I realize it's how my brain is working right now, how the synapses have changed and are registering light differently. So it's like when you look through a water droplet and you look at light and you see all those little cool little bubbles and spheres and like fractals of light and rainbows and things with patterns, kind of like a kaleidoscope.
Mhm.
But I was looking at the moon, and the whole brim of the moon had you know, like patterns around it, you know, but they were consistent. They didn't shift around unless I moved my head. So it was like real time. It wasn't like a hallucination. It was like responsive to like place and light and time. And my eyes had actually changed the perceptional pattern of light to a degree to where I was able to see these shapes, you know, whereas before it would have just looked like a blurred glow to me. But now it's like a freaking like, prism, you know. But like I think that has to more to do with like you know, like if you have a cell phone and like there's on off off on off 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 on off on when it comes to a signal, but then like you just change a couple of those on off off ons, you know, or like sound when you create a comb or something or spike or something, you know, and you just some signals become more intense and some become less intense, and then it changes the shape and sound. So it wasn't like I was creating that, it was just that, you know, my timing mechanism was screwed up. So I was able to see light on everything.
Well, yeah, no, totally. I the most vivid one I think I experienced was just even listening to Lips on shrooms and listening to Zyreka on a really killer sound system. And I was sitting on the floor, and I had my beer on the floor next to me, and I could kind of see like the speaker vibrations kind of move like the floor or something, where it looked like the beer was in a puddle, kind of in vibration with speaker timing.
Yeah.
That was probably the most vivid one I think I've seen.
Yeah, it definitely. That's why I feel like it's like a clocking mechanism. Like you have a certain amount of time it takes to do a certain amount of cycles, right? Before you complete a circuit. And I feel like acid takes our cycles that go like this, and kind of make it go from here and from instantly to here as it comes like right here. So it's like, so you skip beats. So your perception is going like a lot faster by default. Like you're changing Ohm's laws to be shorter, so the loop is now from instead of right here, it's like this much of a loop, to get to the same point. So like you just accelerated perception like really fast, which becomes harder for the conscious brain to fully analyze. That and your two hemispheres are, your brain is hemorrhaging when you're on certain chemicals like acid or MDMA, and that pushes the two spheres together. So your left and right and conscious and subconscious kind of turn on all at the same time. Because your brain's being pushed together.
Because it's swelling?
Yeah.
Huh. Never heard of it swelling on acid. I've heard of it swelling on other things. I mean, I've heard of. I know it can swell. I didn't heard that.
But yeah. Those are just, my theories.
Our tape is full. Do you guys want to take a breather?
Yeah.